Peace, fam. Dr. She in the house. You're not going to be able to help yourself with autoimmune diseases and these sicknesses that you have that you cannot detect the origin of until you clean up your environment. Part of cleaning up your environment is removing toxicity. Your toxicity is in your soap, your toxicity is in your lotion, your toxicity is in your hair care. The stuff that comes off the shelf is usually laden with chemicals and toxins and fake perfumes. Go to 25000yearcycle.org, get yourself some proper soap. We have 3 different types, and some proper skincare, Silk Care, which is one of the best skincare products you're going to get in existence right now. 25000yearcycle.org. Dr. She out. Link in bio. Peace.
Peace and blessings, family. Sister Ajali is one. And so if you see me dabbing, that's why, and whatever. But I had to share my thoughts that given all the distractions they're putting out there are massive. I can't share all of those, but I can concentrate so I can make as possible as I can you hearing my warning, you hearing my message. So let me put the glasses on, because this one, I hope it'll be short, but I'm going to give the information. That's the most important thing. And so I realize when I go to a platform that's actually giving me real knowledge, I prefer that the video not be like under 20 minutes. I'm like, if you got an hour's worth of incredible data, I'm going to feel like I just watched something that was only 10 minutes long because I'm fascinated. That's this type of information, and what I always attempt to do with my channel, because I ain't wasting your time. So let's get to it. I had to go back to this article, which was written in a fully Japanese news site, the Japan Times. Black us, black you and me, would on the whole would never, ever, ever be going to read the Japan Times. And so what fascinated me about it is that exclusivity to a very small territory, Japan, the island Honshu, but that they were going over in the nation with one of the top suicide rates in the entire world. Amongst the nations with the lowest rates is going to be Black populated areas. And the further you are away from the delusions perpetuated by white folks and those who hate us, the more sane you're going to be, so that you will have a rooted perception of life, of your importance, and to your own happiness. So you no longer think that you need the accolades and the respect from everybody on the planet who have their own vested interests in hating you and me, the less you give a damn. And so this article, let me repeat, I wish absolutely nobody any harm. And I'm going to just tell the truth up here, so that those folks who are perpetuating lies, it can stop and recognize that they've brought the planet through their lies for whatever, recessive, emotionally crippled reasons they may have. That's up to them to figure out. But surely you want a planet, when you're looking at an investigation of a homicide, even if there's a person who is somehow connected and they're on the investigating unit, they're removed from the conversation because they know they're not capable of thinking straight. And so thereby, what the people who hate us and are willing to destroy the entire planet in order to eradicate us have to say about what I'm sharing, just know it is not credible analysis. All right, so let's show you where the black people of Japan, we need to talk. Where you got this article was written by a black woman, Ayana Wise, who lives in Japan. And maybe this will be short. Top court rules in favor of trans woman and daughter. What? That's like several levels of lunacy that would not be allowed in almost every single African nation. And the further away we are from needing white people's approval, the more we'll recognize that this is lunacy. You don't need the article that I discovered on Henry Mackay. I'm not recommending Henry Mackay because he's pushing that whole, white Christianity thing, which is just delusional on their parts. But like I said, you can't go to the people destroying the planet and expect sanity somehow, all right? It doesn't mean I want to harm them. It just means that they're not credible sources, except for they could be a witness to what's happening, okay? But here, I'm going to read it again, where it was this gentleman who read the book written by Joseph Daniel Unwin. And this was his comment, because I got the PDF and I was just like, oh no, it's like almost 700 pages long. If the British anthropologist J.D. Unwin is correct in his assessment of society, this present generation in the Western world may be the last one. In his book, Sex and Culture, Professor Unwin studied 80 quotes. They know it's in quotes in the PDF. It's not in quotes for Unwin because he was from the 1930s. And that's when white people were the most stable because they believed their lies. All right. Now they don't anymore. So they put it in that terms because they know buildings do not make you civilized. Correct and righteous behavior towards yourself and the rest of the world, that's what makes you civilized, okay? But they're going to hold on to their stuff. I'll get to that part, all right, in order to make them feel better. And compared his results with 16 civilized cultures extending over the last 4,000 years. He found that when strict heterosexual monogamy was practiced, the society attained its greatest cultural energy, especially, and here's where the whiteism comes up, in the arts, sciences, and technology. This is just like a warning, white people. If you want to be here tomorrow, you better go straight. You know what? Good for you, white people. If you can work it out, that's great. The problem is that they then are always uncomfortable with an independent us. But this planet needs an independent investigator because these dudes, oh my goodness gracious, let's get into it, right? So you would figure that the Japanese, I didn't know the stuff that I've learned over the last couple days, but you would figure that they would even do their investigation. But no, I'm all about the history. I want to know, what are you about? Because they keep putting us up there as the poster child of what they really miss doing out in the open. So I found this video. This is extraordinary. The boy monk problem. This is about the Buddhist monks in Japan. And this is like from the 500s. That's the years that they're examining their rituals. They would essay, I'm just saying the way that YouTube is, I don't know, because I'm not monetized and have no intention of ever becoming monetized by these dudes, okay? But they were all into the pedophilia with their little acolyte monks, and they weren't full monks, but they would wear makeup. They would try to curry the favor of the established monks. It's just nasty. So when you and oh my God, there's also such a history of not just in Japan, but all of Asia, of men massively abusing their women, raping them, committing incest, and all sorts of things that they don't, when you go to the police station as a woman, good luck with that. I hope really ugly. I don't like stuff like this happening. But how dare you? How dare you go to a place you obviously have no clue about, and that's because you believe the propaganda, because otherwise you would never, ever go to these Asian countries, because you would, first off, you just love being black you so much that you wouldn't give a damn. Like, I don't give a damn what they have to say about us. I care about what they're doing to us. And that's where our vulnerability comes into play, because we're not paying attention to a sister like me, who's the only one giving you the data about their radiological genocide of the entire freaking planet. I have to look at all of these different connections so that I can understand some of us, we're amazing. We're amazing. And so you've heard me, you've gotten one, and I had a comment from a brother, I believe, who was asking me if spirulina was healthy to eat. And I tried to give him as, like just dispassionate, investigatory an answer as possible. And I told him, it's an algae. And so it grows in the waters, and all the waters, when I've gone to that IAEA map, they're all contaminated with fissioning products, and all you need is one atom. So you don't need a deluge, right? And so that was a beautiful thing that the brother asked me about. And I said, I gave up spirulina and chlorella years back. And he said at the end, the final response to me was, I'm going to give up the spirulina. That's mighty. That is so mighty. But to get more of us to pay attention in this hounding, right? I'm looking at China. Oh my, wild China right now. And I'm looking at how in China you aren't allowed to say anything against the CCP, even though it's not changing the fact that the CCP is going down. But you only need so much capital to wage war. So I know the ultimate answer that's going on with China is that they don't give a damn about their people. They're killing them all, right? They know about the radiation. They're just not going to tell their people that it's in the food and it is one atom. So it's wonderful that I get to alert some of you, but the Western people and their derivatives will play games with our minds, so that when you come to my little spot and you see the low view count, you think that what I'm saying is about nothing. And that's BS, because I bring the data, I bring the documentation constantly. That is all you need. That's all you need. Otherwise, a lot of us are very much like these expatriate black folks. And I'm not talking about the ones who just are, moving to another country for whatever reason and they love being black. That's not quite the same thing, even though I don't know where you're going. How you going to get away from these devils? Did you see the scandal-endemic thing that was worldwide? Okay, I know certain places might be better, but I know I wouldn't have met Dr. Shi anyplace else but here. I'm just saying, all right? And so, you dudes, you're depressed because you're believing lies and hoping they'll make sense when you go to these nations, they don't like their own people, right? The Korean mass just stampede, where they literally, over 100 people, about 150 people suffocated to death because, and I listened to the interviews one after the other, Koreans don't like other Koreans. That's how these Asian countries get away with what they do, is because they don't get together and say, oh my goodness gracious, this is terrible that our countrymen are doing this to you, not just to me, but to you, right? Whereas that's our nature as black people. Even if they're trying to talk us out of it, with a Sotomayor, where I just saw, and I'm sorry, brother, but luckily I didn't know him. enough to talk to him, but I had to unfollow him on Instagram, where he was like putting up a sort of a Tommy video, a podcast. And there he was. I listened to it to see if Tommy's changed. And no, he hasn't. He's blaming the black woman for everything. I'm like, are you kidding me? What Asian woman, what white woman out there is coming and putting all this together so we can understand and save our children, right? This ain't saving the children. As the little review said, when you're practicing this lunacy, you're out of there. You got about 100 years left with your depravity before it just mating with your opposite sex partner is difficult enough in a sane society. It is sane to perpetuate your species. That's like bedrock, okay? But if you're growing up in a household where people will respond to impulses rather than thinking ahead past their own me-ness, what makes you think that you are going to be capable of duplicating a sane family life that you've never even seen, right? So Japan's embracing all this. All the K-dramas I watch, they're embracing Satanism. And when I went and looked, I was like, the concept of hell is an old concept, but from a very confused aspect with Asian people. I just happened to find this channel. I'll leave links to this. Lymphemy. Excellent history. Wow, he's really good. So believing chaos and confusion is supposed to make sense. Of course, it's going to make you depressed. Of course. As soon as you understand, like, I don't remember the amazing historian who said it, but if you don't understand a black versus white, then everything else will confuse you. Now, when I say that, the white people they love this. Oh, look, she threatened violence. No, we don't need to do, they hate it if we don't engage in violence. That's why you have operatives all over the place trying to encourage us to be physical with these people. Hell no, you can't be physical with somebody who loves gore, who loves horror. You can't. And so with Japan, they got the shogunai. That's where you just do whatever the society's doing so you can get along. The nail that sticks up gets hammered down. They're not cooperative because they're just that nice and friendly, and you think black you, if you go run off over there, they're all going to embrace you. No, there's a massive amount of crime conducted. It's just the police, they don't report on it, right? And Fukushima, ain't nobody put a sarcophagus over that sucker. They emptied out those water barrels that had all the radioactive isotopes in them because they're so incinerating. When they say, oh, we filtered it out, there's no way. They would have to change the filter every other hour because there would be so much. It's the nuclear power plant runoff because they have to keep it cooled down because it turns everything radioactive, right? Nuclear reactors only daggone buildings that if you build them correctly, you got to break them down after 30, 50 years because of embrittleization. So the radiation ain't gone away. And you know, the flesh-eating disease that everybody's talking about is happening, it seems to white people. I don't know, because they tend to hide what happens to us. And if I talk about what happens to us when it comes to certain sticky things that then shoot stuff in your blood veins, then they really come at me, right? I can't even tell a historical truth about that. I don't know how long I could even mention the Tuskegee experiments, right? But they were sticking some radiation in their blood vessels, their bloodstream, to see, while at the same time they've been perpetuating this lunacy we have, that we're invulnerable to radiation's effects. Oh, the hell no, right? I used to go to a YouTube site called Aframax. As soon as I mentioned that, I went there to get, different imagery. of all the horrible mutations happening to Africans. And I made a conclusion, a deduction based on radiation is the only thing that causes mutations as severe as that. Suddenly Afromax has started changing its content. They established in many different places in Africa misinformation offices, right? Where they're just going to come up with straight up lies. So now Afromax is promoting stuff that you would never see engaged in Africa, right? So back to this, the flesh-eating bacteria, there's been a exponential rise in cases in Japan, right? Even though most of the Fukushima radiation went to the US. That's why you see it here first. That's why you sort of die off and all the, billions of dead creatures, right? British Columbia looks like Mars because that's where most of the radiation was dragged by the Kuroshio current. Okay? But you going on over and going to be depressed in a nation that's just cooperating with the evil? How more evil can you get than to kill everything? Right? So flesh-eating bacteria cases top 1,000 with cause unknown. It's a mystery. We don't know. That's what their scientists said with all the billions of dead creatures. Because they couldn't say, well, it was corona stereo. Maybe it was the jab. Because they ain't go get no damn jab. Right? But that's what they're saying now for colon cancer, the epic rise in colon cancer, and all the other cancers. Suddenly, everything but radiation is getting mentioned as a possible cause because they can't keep saying the same thing that they always said for all the dead creatures. Oh, the scientists are baffled. They're befuddled. They're bemused that we believe them. Okay? So, as I said, the things they say about us that we wind up believing and feeling ashamed about, that we're the worst people on the planet, we're, the most ignorant, all we do is dance and party and dance. No, we are the most amazing people, in my conclusion, when we have the right information, when we no longer believe the liars. Then we have a chance of being genuinely civilized. Like Unwin said, we're the people who perpetuate forever. So this video right here, this was extraordinary. I've been watching this channel, Fact Feast, for a while. This was he will get the reports written by the eyewitnesses to these eras of just massive entrenched poverty in both England and in America. This one was going over the UK in East End, written by Jack London, who was an author, extraordinary author. This is just like, wow, if you're good, you're good. I ain't gonna, oh, he's a white man or whatever. You know what? As I said, I believe in true diversity. A planet filled with all kinds of people, but the only way to maintain that is if we separate. And we have those who are investigators, who don't own nuclear power plants, who don't own these hospitals that are literally, without the parents' knowledge, talking children into either that moment castration or future castration. We don't own that crap. But they want to put this broad-based word wokery on it and then blame us as if our freedom is connected to depravity. No, it's not. All you have to do is look at the demographics. Which nations are not pro-perversion? And you'll see that's our nations. That's us, right? Even here in the unentitled snakes, that's us, right? Used to be homophobic and still are. I'm murderophobic. I'm genocidophobic too, right? And so this, like, just eyewitness. I'm going to put a link to this too because it was extraordinary. Jack London just explained how, you would think he was talking about us. The way that we're like, oh, I'm getting out of Blackistan. or I'm doing, run from the ghetto, or you ratchet, you hood. We have absorbed the stereotypes. So a lot of us, I'm not saying most of us, but a goodly some could go to a KKK meeting and be whooping and hollering in agreement right with them. And they're fools too, right? They were set up by Albert Pike, who knew they needed to make these, who they considered their unwashed masses, support their satanic elites. And the way they do that is by presenting Black us. That is what this article is about, where they want to create a new stereotype about us that we are suicidal. Oh, but that's not us. That's not us. And for Japan to be putting this in the Japan Times, get the hell out of here, right? This is to create a stereotype, because as a stereotype, you don't need all the people to be practicing what you're accusing them of. You just need some of them to sort of like co-sign, oh yes, go to your barber. And if you're feeling depressed, and he'll help you. No, he'll just be getting paid to enhance the concept that this is our nature. No, 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 no. The more we believe these devils, the more confused we are. I'm not saying there aren't Black people out there who don't suffer depression. I'm saying as soon as you understand who your real enemy is, ta-da, you're cured. Okay? It may take work because you got to root out all your family's propaganda that would most likely be coming from that devilish source. And so that you could go, whoa, I want them Black babies, so I'm going to get involved with Black Love is Real. 33.8K subscribers. And I mean one Black man with one Black woman after another, and they're not the same. They're different ones working it out, okay? So I'm just saying, like, when you stop believing these guys, we got stuff that we got to work on. Then oh, you can't do this. You can't do this with a pale child. I'm just saying, I'm not mad at biracials. If you want to marry a biracial, I wish you the best, because that's complicated. It can come and snap at your family even a couple generations down, because they'll be looking, going, oh, look, great grandma was white. Wow. No. Right? You just go and check out what recessive DNA does to you, or just look at them after a couple decades or standing in the sun. I'm just saying, I'm talking to science. Being Black is literally beautiful. We just didn't know the dynamics so that we would therapyize ourselves with the truth. Okay? That's just, I mean, just gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. Gorgeous. And this is happening all over the place. But this is the reality. This ain't no stereotype that threatens them. 100%. Keep on living that truthful, Black loving reality. And I also want to say congratulations to Sister Coco Gauff. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her last name, and my apologies for that. Beautiful, wonderful sister. This is her boyfriend. And he's great because he challenges himself with each year that comes to read just that many books in that year. So this year he's reading 24, whereas Coco, who's also a reader, said she was going to read 12 books. But when she met him, because she is obviously wonderfully competitive, she now wants to read just as many books as her boyfriend. I thought that was great. She didn't want to outbest him, and that's a good thing. She wants to see if she could just read 2 books every single month. I don't see any reason. I'm thinking she is monetarily all together, and so she's going to manage that. I'm going to recommend Coco, go on out there to 25,000yearcycle.org. Get your heel on. You could get my silk hair cream also. You could get my soap. Is amazing. People are reordering my soap. I thank you, Sister R, for your reorder. I need more of you to go and purchase these products, because there's nobody who's like saying, oh my goodness, this Aj Lee, her stuff, it just doesn't work. No, it's amazing stuff. That's also part of that leaving Japan, all right? Leaving the lies alone is knowing that when you've got good people fighting for you, you are entering a state of sanity to support those people. Sorry, it's warm. So I have, this is part 2 of my This Black series, and it's This Black Nation. Amazing book. And Bloating War. This is the one, the right here, Furnace of Affliction. You need that to deal with the lies they're telling, where the FDA is allowing all food in from Japan, from Fukushima specifically, into the US food market. Have you heard anything about that from any other news site? No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You heard it here. Well, I also, in my research, found the ways to get radiation out. Eating healthy is not enough. It's not enough, right? Now, I think some of these health gurus, not all of them, some of them are agents themselves, but all of them, because they do tend to want to talk about only what's popular, they're not going to do that research. I've done that research. Coco, get this book right here, Save Your Life, right? And This Black, amazing book. I like This Black Nation also. I thought it was amazing. I still think it's wonderful if you want to read book 2. But This Black is astounding, without a doubt. You come right on over here. You get these books. This is the ebook at 10. And you could get the t-shirt. The t-shirt is excellent for just getting the warning out there. But you could get the physical copy. That's 35. Let's see. Keep on going. Oh, I guess so. We don't have the book for This Black, so you just get it off of Amazon, right? But Furnace of Affliction, this is the ebook. You could get it only here for $25, right? All right. Woo! Straight Black Pride is our map and our method of being here forever, especially when we know how amazing we are. So we support a sister like me. All right? All right. Mwah. Love you. Peace and blessings.